Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. You're listening to Sports Time HQ. I am your host, of course, the one and only, the best host of this whole entire sports podcast group. And of course, I'm joined by my great co-host, Gary. Gary, how are you doing today?
I'm pretty good. I'm excited for this 2024 redraft first round.
And
It's
yet,
going to be a great show.
You already know. We're going back in time. Obviously, we're going to see what these teams picked and what they should have actually picked. And of course, there is some that maybe the number one overall pick is going to be a little changed. Maybe it'll stay the same. I don't know. But we got a good show today. And of course, we got to go and dive into some news and notes from around the league. And Gary, there was some news that has been broken out back and forth between a lot of different teams. And first off, I want to talk about a quarterback that I know a good friend of mine is a big Cowboys fan. And the issue is Dak Prescott going to be ready for week one? Obviously, he had that hamstring injury. He was officially out for the rest of the season last season. But he does say that he will be very, very ready for week one. Is this a question mark for the Cowboys? Should they get some kind of insurance and maybe get a backup quarterback just in case he is not ready or if he can't produce next season?
Yeah, I could definitely see that happening. I mean, now we've seen Dak go down with two major injuries. So there's always that possibility, I guess, if it were to occur again. Hopefully not. But yeah, I think they're going to bring some guy in that room. They always seem to have a pretty solid backup. So wouldn't be surprised if they are able to maintain another one. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what to think about the Cowboys anymore. It's literally just the same story year after year. So
Very, very much so. Hopefully the Cowboys can continue to do that because we love to see the downfall of the Cowboys.
Of course.
Giants and the Jets, both New York teams, have been looking to trade up to the number one overall pick. Obviously, the Tennessee Titans currently hold it. Do they draft a quarterback? Do they draft a defensive lineman? Or do they trade back? I think this is a big question mark. We usually see it a lot of years. We see a lot of teams have the number one overall pick and we already know what they're going to take. They're going to take a quarterback because that's usually how it goes. But this year seems a little different. It seems like we can actually see the potential for the number one pick being traded a lot higher of a likely possibility than a quarterback being taken, I believe.
Hey, it's almost like I said this the first mock draft, right? I said Giants would possibly jump the Browns. And I think, honestly, it probably will happen. I think at least the Giants are nervous about what we're going to do because I really do think that they have their sights set on Shedeur Sanders, and they have heard all the media noise as much as I have also. Heard all the media noise about the Browns are 100% taking a quarterback. Now, I don't know where the Browns' head's at, whether it's going to be Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders. If the Titans end up taking a quarterback, if they stay at one, which I don't think they would, but if they stay at one and draft a quarterback, then what do the Browns do? Do they go with the other quarterback? Do they go to Carter, Hunter? And then that just is the exact same question for the New York Giants. So I can't reiterate this enough. This is the first draft in a while where I feel like we don't have a solidified top three, at least. And it's just going to cause chaos on draft night, and I'm all here for it.
Yeah, I'm very excited, especially because the Giants, I mean, obviously you're back and forth with Shedeur Sanders, right? Still.
Yeah.
If the Giants were to go up and get Shedeur Sanders, are you willing to take Cam Ward? Are you okay with that? Or would you rather just take either Abdul Carter or just move on from that position or maybe trade back?
Honestly, no matter what, if the Titans don't take a quarterback or not, I want Abdul Carter. But, I mean, I can't be upset if they were to draft Cam Ward, but genuinely, like, that's my fourth option, in all honesty. For me, it goes Carter, Shedeur, Hunter, Ward. Those are my top four that I would rank them in terms of how happy I would be if the Browns were to draft them. And of course, as of right now, I've been hearing a lot of media about that they love Cam Ward. So I don't really know. I've also heard that they love Shedeur Sanders. So I don't really know what's going to go on And then, of course, the number one slot, we don't know what's going to happen there. So it could completely shift our view.
Well, you mentioned Abdul Carter, and just after the show, I think that either later on that night or the
Yep.
next day, there was a big news about him, about how he had stress reaction in his right foot. And that goes to show that there was a lot of question marks whether or not he's going to need surgery or not. Right now, it is said that he will not have surgery. Now, I think this is actually the reason why he's saying this is so his draft stock doesn't fall, because I think if he does go with the surgery, his draft stock will fall. Maybe it's just because he wants to fall to the Eagles, and that's why he's saying it. Saw some people saying that on Twitter and everything on X, but I mean, I think this is big news, and I think this is teams who want him need to interview him and truly ask for the real answer. If we do draft you, are you willing to do surgery? Are you actually going to do surgery? And if you do, what is your time frame? Will you be back for the 2025 season? Because I think that's going to really be the big factor on whether or not teams are going to draft him, especially as high as the number one overall pick.
It doesn't bother me as much, honestly. I really think he's that good of a player to where um, his situation does not matter. And no matter what his answer is, whether he gets the surgery or not, whether, it keeps him sidelined for some or a majority of the 2025 season, it really doesn't matter to me that much. There's not a chance in the world where he falls out of the top 5. So anybody that's below that, just get that idea out of your head, because I promise you it'll never happen. So it's definitely a situation to keep an eye on, because I mean, I guess if it were to become a lingering issue, it's something that we can look back on. But I promise you, he will not fall out of the top 5 no matter what.
I'd like to keep this receipt and go back to it after the draft. Imagine he does. I mean, at that point, if he does fall outside the top 5, I think we're going to see a lot of teams try and trade up for him.
Yeah, I mean, it just doesn't really make sense. Like, at the end of the day, it's something that he can play through. So it's not like it's something that could potentially, derail his career or even his first season. Like, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Clearly, he doesn't either.
No, not at all. Going on to some big news that came out for the 49ers. Deebo Samuel has been traded to the Commanders for a 5th-round pick. Yeah, a 5th-round pick. I just want to mention, I just posted a social media video talking about that whole thing and breaking it down. Deebo Samuel is on the Commanders, gave up a 5th-round pick. Another team in that division traded for a wide receiver named Jonathan Mingo for a 4th-round pick. Can we just make that be known? So, Gary, if you're the GM, are you taking Jonathan Mingo and giving up your 4th, or are you taking Deebo and taking a 5th, giving up a 5th?
Well, clearly it's Mingo, but obviously it's Deebo Samuel. I mean, I don't know what we're really comparing here. I mean, that's just Cowboys front office for you. I mean, I'll be honest with you, outside of when he first got drafted, I've never heard Jonathan Mingo's name, at least be relevant in talks. And everybody knows that when Deebo is fully healthy and at the top of his game, he is one of the best dual dynamic wide receivers that we have. So great move by the Commanders. I love it. And I will just continue to say I have no idea why the trade market is the way it is. Completely understand, he probably has a iffy contract, and he's always got that lingering injury issue, and all the other outside aspects. But like a 5th rounder, like how often do they turn out? You know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly.
I don't know. I'll never.
I mean, for me, looking at the Commanders side of things, this is an absolute steal for them because they needed a true wide receiver too. I think right now, if I was the Commanders, I'd bring back De'Ami Brown, make him the solid wide receiver 3, and I think right there, that's a good trio to have. You always had Scary Terry for the last 5 years, and he's always been a producer, but now he actually has some other talent with him, surrounding him, with Jaden Daniels, with Brian Robinson, now with Deebo Samuel. I mean, Zach Ertz even put his name in the hat. I mean, this is really good to see for the Commanders because they know they were just 1 game away. They know they need another wide receiver for some help, and you're not spending the bank on Deebo Samuel. Yeah, he's up there in age. He didn't produce last season. I think this is a steal for them. Fantasy wise, though, Terry McLaurin, does he take a hit? For me, I don't think he takes a hit. I think it's actually going to help him even more because it's going to take some big corners away from him. Maybe go for Deebo because we know Deebo can be a wide receiver one as well. And I think Terry should still be drafted where he is drafted every year. Deebo, I think Deebo's just. I'm not a guy that is all for Deebo, so I was always against Deebo in fantasy. So I'm fine taking a step back from him.
Honestly, I think it will hurt Terry a little bit. I mean, you can't just like it's not like he got, a solid wide receiver too. Like you mentioned, this guy is a guy that has played wide receiver one in, multiple cases in his flourish
Mm,
this way. So I can't with confidence say that it's not going to affect him. I think
mm.
it definitely will. Not insane amounts, but I don't think he's gonna have the what wide receiver like he's like wide receiver 7, 10 range.
Yeah, he usually finishes as a lower end wide receiver one.
Right, yeah. And I think he'll be a great wide receiver too. I'll just say that.
Yeah, I
Love
can see him as a
Terry.
high end wide receiver too.
I love Terry, but like we kind of saw it before, like once I mean they had Curtis Samuel once and they used him a lot. And even when they drafted Jahan Dotson, like Jahan Dotson
Mm.
was being debated as the wide receiver one in that room. So it's, when they have another big name in that room, they do like to share the ball. However, they've never had Jaden Daniels. So we will see. I think it slightly hurts McLaurin.
Now, Jaden Daniels, fantasy stock. How do you feel about it?
I mean, I love it. Um, the only thing that might deter it a little bit is the fact that Debo also runs, so that like
Mm.
might take away some of Daniel's rushing, but I really don't think it will because they don't really run a lot of like just like QB draws. Like it's a lot of his rushing yards just comes from improv and just scrambling out of the pocket, which is why I love Jaden Daniels. Just unlike Hurts, where they just have QB draws all the time. I hate that. Um,
Mm.
so yeah, I really love what the Commanders are doing. And if they are to get Miles Garrett, I mean, they could be possibly the favorite, honestly, in the NFC. I wouldn't be
Ooh.
surprised. I would not be
But do you
surprised.
but do you think that the Eagles would allow that to happen?
No, I mean, we've talked about this already. Howie
Yeah.
Roseman said that he would step in and interfere with that and is perfectly fine with getting rid of a bunch of starters. His words, not mine. Um, And I mean, I'm sitting here as a Browns fan thinking, hey, the Eagles just won the Super Bowl. And if they're thinking of giving us any starters from that team, I'm all ears. So
Yeah.
we will see. That'll definitely be the probably one of the biggest, if not the biggest story to look out for this offseason.
Now, let's transition over to the 49ers on the fantasy stock for them. Now, I do want to mention the other part of the news that I have is they did just announce that Brandon Ayuk is also on the trade block, and the 49ers are also willing to trade Brandon Ayuk. Why is that? And I think that is solely because of his contract. I think they now realize that they overpaid him a little too much. And is he a wide receiver one? I don't know if he can be a wide receiver one. I don't think he fits a wide receiver one role in an offense. I think he's a solid slot receiver. I think he produces very well. But now that Debo's gone, who is that next guy to step up? I think Brandon Ayuk is still going to struggle. We may see him hopefully bounce back from last season's slump and have another jump year. But Ricky Pearsall is the guy I want to see the most because he had so much potential last season. And I think closing out the season after the horrific scenery that happened just prior to him about to start and make his debut, I mean, he was producing in fantasy. I think he was averaging, what, 8.5 points we mentioned last week? A week. And that was towards the end of the season. I think he is a guy that can produce as a solid wide receiver two, wide receiver three range in your fantasy lineups. Not saying he'll finish as a wide receiver two, but I think he can definitely have weeks where he finishes as a wide receiver two as well.
I completely agree with you. And I think this is actually also another thing that I brought up our last stream or two streams ago that 49ers have already been fielding calls for Brandon Ayuk,
Mm.
seeing if his availability is there. And obviously it is. They just said he is. So I can't disagree with you. It has to be it has to be because of the contract, has to be because of the injury, has to be because of everything, because he was not playing well when he was healthy this past season. So definitely having some remorse there, maybe with that big bag that they threw at him. So we'll see if they are to ship him, what they can get for him. And it's definitely going to be a big topic to see fantasy wise for Ricky Pearsall, because we all had him as a breakout candidate last week, right?
Yeah.
On Wednesday. The thing with me is I can't see him being a wide receiver one. So if they already shipped Debo, if they do ship Brandon Ayuk, I don't know how much that helps Pearsall, honestly.
Maybe they're trying to trade for in division Cooper Cup, or maybe get Devontae Adams.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to think with the Niners, because they're losing so many guys, and it's like, do they think it's time? Like, I don't think so, because Brock Purdy, you got to pay too. So I don't know. I really don't.
Yeah, I think that's a good one to mention. Brock Purdy's contract. I mean, this could also be a whole reason why they're trying to trade away Brandon Ayuk, make some money,
Mm.
save some money to try and afford Brock Purdy. But Brandon Ayuk, I was going somewhere with this Brandon Ayuk story. I had a question for you. Oh, trade wise, if he gets traded, Jonathan Mingo, 4th rounder, Chris Godwin, Debo, 5th rounder, Brandon Ayuk, 3rd rounder.
I guess. Like, I just really don't know. Like, it makes absolutely no sense to me. I hate it. Honestly, I hate it. It's like you have to factor so many things in, but then you don't for some other players, or some people don't for some other players. Like, I'll be honest with you, in a heartbeat taking Debo for a 5th over Ayuk for a 3rd. Like, it doesn't even come close. So
Yeah, I'd rather draft a wide receiver in this class
that
in the
too.
3rd round.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
So
So I don't know, man.
I think we could see him go for a 4th. I think 4th is the middle ground. I think he's obviously younger, but the reason is his contract situation. I think that is solely the biggest reason why he can't go for a day 2 pick. I think it's just that's
Mhm.
what's stopping teams, because I have a feeling that's what the
Mhm.
49ers are asking. They want a day 2 pick.
Probably, yeah.
Let's go into some of the last news. Did you see the NFLPA team report cards, Gary?
Oh, I did.
Well, let's go down with the bottom 5. I believe. Do we want
Let's
to talk about?
go.
Um, who did you think was the bottom 5?
So I'll be honest, I really didn't see the full standing report cards, but I did see my Cleveland Browns come in 3rd to last, I think it was.
They
Um,
they were 30. They were 30.
they were 30. Yeah, they can't even be the best of being the worst. It's classic. If I had to guess at some other teams that are like way down there, um, I mean, like maybe the Jags.
Jags are not bottom 5. Jags are actually
Okay.
number 18.
Wow. Okay. So are any good teams at the bottom?
Um, I would say there's maybe one you could question. Yeah, I'd say one
Like, are the Bengals
good.
down here?
No, they're not. They're 24. They are low,
Okay.
but they're 24th.
Okay.
I would say there's a team that does great every year, but just doesn't get the edge every year.
The Cowboys?
No, they just suck. The Cowboys are actually top 10. They're number 10.
What?
Yeah,
That's
they're number
unbelievable.
10.
Okay.
They're number 10.
The Ravens. I mean, I would assume they'd be pretty
Uh,
good.
Ravens are 13. They're middle of the pack,
Yeah, I would assume
roughly.
they're pretty good. A team that does good every year but can't get over the edge. The
Yep.
Bills are one of them that come to mind.
23.
Um, uh,
Uh, let's say they always have. This is going to be a dead giveaway. They always have a winning record.
that's not a dead giveaway, because I feel like every team I've named fits that. Um,
They always have a winning record every year, but can never move forward in the playoffs.
Packers?
No, come on. I know you know this. I know you know this. What were the
Every team
Packers?
I've named. The Lions
They're in. All right. How about this? They're in your division.
are in my division. The Steelers. Really? Wow. That's actually
Yeah,
surprising.
they're
That's
28. They're
surprising.
28.
That's
Two
very
more
surprising.
AFC teams and one NFC team in the bottom five.
Okay. I think I saw maybe the Dolphins are down here.
The complete opposite, but we'll
No
keep
way.
going. We'll keep going. I won't mention what number they are.
They're probably number 1. The Jets have to be down there.
29. They are
Okay, good.
29.
Okay, I was gonna say
You got one more AFC, one more NFC.
a team that I would mention for the AFC is the Raiders.
No, actually,
Really?
Raiders are not.
They're good again. Titans.
Titans, shockingly enough, are middle of the pack, 16. The NFC team is a team that I'd say had a low pick last year, but had high expectations this year. They have what we would say face of the franchise, but now in question. I would say.
I was gonna say the Cardinals.
Yeah, they are 32.
Okay. Oh wow. Okay, dead last. Yeah.
You're missing 31 now. They are worse than the Browns.
Titans. No, I already said them. They're worse than the Browns. There's not many teams that are worse than the Browns, at least
Well,
draft wise.
no, they're not worse.
You're saying on the chart. On the chart.
Yeah,
on the chart. Let me throw out the Patriots.
They are 31.
No way! That's awesome.
The NFL, yeah, based on all the rankings, the Patriots come at 31. I couldn't believe it. But I'm also not surprised. The Browns, they had an F- in the locker room. Do they have any other Fs? They had a D in team travel. They had a D+ in training room and a D+ in treatment facilities. The Patriots, on the other hand, they had a F on weight room, an F on team travel, a D on ownership, and a lot of C's across the board. And the weighted scale was 6% on treatment of families, 6% on nutritionists and dietitians, 9% on food cafeteria, 9% on locker room, 9% training room, training staff, weight room, strength coaches, team travel, 10% on head coach, and 15% on club owner. So that's why the Patriots went down so much, is because they got a D on team ownership. Now, for the top 5, you mentioned 2 of them.
Oh, I probably got all 5 of them already.
No.
I guess all 5.
You mentioned 2 of them.
Okay, so I think I saw I had to have seen a list because the Dolphins stuck out to me. I thought they were bottom 5, but are they number 1?
They are number 1.
Okay, that's what it was that I saw. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
The Miami Dolphins have A's across the board. It's either an A or A+ across the board.
Surprised they gave an A to McDaniel, but okay.
Yeah. Head coach got an A+.
It's unbelievable. All right.
So you got the number 1 down. You got 4 more on the NFLPA report card to go for the top 5.
Okay, so how many of each conference are left? Sorry, I don't know if you said it.
Let's say we got 2 in the NFC, 2 in the AFC, so it doesn't really help too much.
Okay. All right. So are either of the LA teams here? Chargers and Rams.
They are. One of them are.
Chargers.
They are. They are number 5.
Okay. All right. So we got 1 and 5. That's 2 AFC teams. All right. In the NFC, are the Vikings here?
The Vikings are actually number 2.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Vikings are number 2. You got 1 more AFC, 1 more NFC.
So far I'm 3 for 3. On this
side you're actually killing it. You have said one of them already in the bottom 5 that's still left.
All right, so I named Titans, Packers, Ravens. You already said Ravens were 13. So I think it might be one of those 2. Let me say the Packers.
Packers are not there. They're number 7.
Okay. The Titans, are they here?
No, they are 16, middle of the pack.
Okay. So it wasn't either of those 2. So we have one more AFC, one more NFC. NFC, the Buccaneers here.
No, actually, the Buccaneers are very low. They were 27.
Wow. Okay,
Yeah.
not what I'd expect.
Yeah, I
Um,
didn't expect that either.
let's throw out like the Texans.
Texans are number 6, just outside the
Oh
top
wow,
5.
okay. And then let's throw out the Niners.
Number 8. You've
Mm.
officially gotten every single top 8 team except for 3 and
Awesome.
4.
Awesome.
Let me give you a hint. Let's see.
The Lions. I already
They
said them, right? Lions. They
Lions
have
are
to
number
be there.
9. You're
What?
you're just you've now officially
Okay.
named the top 10 except for
Okay.
3 and 4 because Cowboys are at number 10. Let's see. What can I give you for a hint? One is a bird team.
Runs the bird team. Did I already mention the Eagles?
You did not mention the Eagles. Eagles are 22.
Okay. Oh, the Ravens.
No,
Did I say them
13.
too? What?
13.
Let's
You're missing.
Seahawks.
Oh no, it's the other bird.
What?
15. They're at 15. You're missing one bird. One
No, I already
bird.
said the Cardinals too.
Nope. There's another bird.
Dude, what's the last bird?
Oh,
This is
you're
such a joke.
you're so stressed. I already know you're stressed because
This is such a
the
joke.
moment you realize the bird, you're gonna be like, I can't believe I couldn't remember it. Let's.
We'll go back to that one. We'll go back to that.
All right. You'll go back to that one. All right. The other
Yeah.
one is a franchise that has a lot of potential this offseason.
Franchise has a lot of potential this offseason. Okay.
And you did say you did mention
Commanders.
those teams with 5. No, come on. We already know they're going to make it to the Super Bowl next year. Hot take. You mentioned this team in the bottom 5. A lot of question marks. They have a lot of question marks on the quarterback situation as well.
Okay. Oh, the Jags.
Nope. Jaguars are 18.
Who am I missing?
Okay, they're on the west side of the country.
Okay.
I'll give you that.
Denver.
No. You're close. Denver 17 though.
Las Vegas.
They are on the list.
Thank
They're
God.
number 4. Now let's circle back to the bird.
Yeah, the Eagles in the East.
One bird. You're missing
Falcons.
one bird.
Falcons. Yes.
Yes.
Falcons.
The Falcons
Jeez.
are number 3.
That was rough.
I gotta clip this. That was great.
Actually, as a matter of fact.
That was crazy. I wish Cam was watching. That would have been the funniest thing. Cam would have been probably roasting you.
Yeah, probably.
Well, I think that's all the news I have. Did you watch the combine at all?
Very little, to be honest with you. I just saw some of the top scores or top 40 times and all that.
See Jackson darting those throws?
I did. It's future Brown right there.
Quinn Ewers can't even connect with a wide receiver.
Neither could Will Howard. So,
yeah, also that.
That was awesome.
Well, it's time for the moment of the show. 2024 redraft. Let's go. It is not going to be on PFF. It's going to be on the NFL mock draft database because that's all I got to try and go back to the draft. Gary, do you want to go back and forth? And do you want the number 1 overall pick, or do you want me to have the number 1 overall pick? Or should we flip a coin?
Hey, that's a better idea. Let's flip a coin.
All right. You call heads or tails?
Heads.
Siri, heads or tails? Tails. Oh shoot, it didn't show. Tails never fails.
I trust you.
Tails never fails. So you have the number 1 overall pick. You got Caleb Williams, who was drafted with Chicago. Do you take him again?
Absolutely not. I'm going to make it nice and easy. Jaden Daniels.
Easy enough. I mean, Jaden Daniels is clear cut, the number 1. That should be there.
Yep.
I have the Commanders, and I was actually really hoping you would take anyone but Jaden Daniels.
Sorry.
But I think this is something that maybe we could see JJ McCarthy going to.
I knew you would do it. I knew you would mention him early. I knew it.
I'm kidding. He can't. There's not enough data to go back that, unfortunately. But I'm bouncing between. I don't think Caleb Williams should go here, even though a lot of people that are remocking says he should. I think honestly, it's Drake May that should go here, and I'm taking Drake May.
Okay. Well, I honestly would have gone with Caleb just because I think he still has the insane potential. So that's what I think I'm going to do here for New England.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I would never want Caleb to be a part of New England, but it's okay.
I want a McCarthy, though.
Yeah. I would have taken McCarthy. I would be fine with that.
That's such a joke.
Arizona's on the clock here. Here's the question. They could go with Marvin Harrison again, or do they take a wide receiver in Malik Neighbors, who is really the guy to go with? The question is what difference did it make with Marvin Harrison there? Was there really much of a difference?
Slightly.
I think as much as I want to go with Dallas Turner here and have the Cardinals reach, I think they'll take an edge later on in the draft, maybe, or defense, or even helping the O-line. And this is the reason why I think you need to help Kyler. And I think Kyler can succeed if you have great O-line. So give me Joe Alt.
Okay. I like it. Kind of just screwed over the Chargers, but that's fine.
Joe Alt gets drafted by the Chargers with this pick here.
That's fine. This is a route that I thought was possible come draft time last year. And that's with not Marvin Harrison actually going to LA, as much as I want him to be drafted here. It is, in fact, Malik Neighbors was probably the best wide receiver last year. Him or his college teammate and Brian Thomas Jr. But I think Malik Neighbors is the better.
Yeah, I love it. I think Malik Neighbors on that Chargers offense, I think would thrive a lot here. Yeah. I actually really like it. Here we got the Giants. Again, they took Malik Neighbors. I think that is something they need to look at again. And this is something that they go draft the other LSU prospect in Brian Thomas Jr.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that. Tennessee. They took a lineman. They took who was it again?
The Tennessee Titans took J.C.
Totally forgetting.
Latham.
That's right, J.C. Latham. That's right. So who's still available? Scroll down a little bit for me.
Let's see.
Let's see. So there was a part of me last year that thought Brock Bowers could actually go here to the Titans at 7. And I think that we would be doing him an injustice to just let him fall for a while. Looks like he could be the best tight end in the game, so I think he goes right here.
I like it. I think it's a great pick. I honestly was thinking that maybe you would go quarterback here.
I was definitely thinking about it, but I don't know.
The Atlanta pick here just shocked the world. I still remember I was down the street from you at some building on a Thursday night, and I was watching it live on TV, and seeing this pick I accidentally saw on my phone. And that's the one thing that sucks about being in the sports media. You see the picks before it go live on TV, and I saw this, and I said, guys, you're not going to believe what the pick was. And I still can't believe it that Michael Penix was the guy here. I don't think that they go with Michael Penix. I actually think they draft the edge that they need in Dallas Turner. I think they need to help that. They don't need the quarterback. It didn't really help, and I think you need some defense there, and I think Dallas Turner's the answer.
And that's exactly what we thought was going to happen last year.
Exactly.
When we were doing these mock drafts. So, yeah, it's a great pick. Chicago, Caleb Williams got sacked.
Rome Odunze was the pick here.
That's exactly who it was. And it's not actually going to be him or The other wide receiver above him, Marvin Harrison Jr., is actually going to be an offensive lineman because there was a stat this year that I saw. Caleb Williams was sacked the second most times in a single season in quarterback history.
Wow.
That cannot continue to happen. So I have him taking the next best overall tackle. Honestly, not completely up to date with how this year's tackles have went, but let's go with Fuaga. I think
Ooh, he went. He was 13 from Oregon State.
yeah, I think he went to the Saints. No, where did he go?
Well, while you check that stat, I'll talk about the Jets here. The Jets, they actually was the Minnesota Vikings that traded up to get this pick. Now, this is not including draft trades, even though I think we can do a draft trade here. But again, Minnesota is right next to it, to New York Jets, so it doesn't really matter here. But if the Jets were to continue to stay on the clock, the Jets would have picked Fashanu in their offensive tackle. And, I think it's still not a bad pick. I think this is kind of the only pick that you could really go here. But I think Aaron Rodgers was also a big question mark. And I think this is where you take a quarterback for the future. And I think you take J.J. McCarthy, who everyone says is not ready.
Wow.
I think he is ready. But I think this is a good one to go get because he's not going to be ready. Or at least you don't think he's a quarterback, NFL-ready quarterback. Perfect. Go behind Aaron Rodgers and learn from him a little bit.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I really don't hate that. It makes sense. So I'm all for it. Now, Minnesota sits here at 11. And man, it hurts to see Marv fall this far. But I guess it's understandable. Minnesota obviously went with J.J. McCarthy for their first rounder. But if I had to look at this Minnesota team that we have today and say, what do they need? There's not a lot. Like, there really isn't. Their defense was phenomenal last year. Actually, their pass defense was not that great. Terrion Arnold is there, but he wasn't great this year. Kenyon Mitchell was actually very good for them. But I think they went with Dallas Turner later in the draft.
Yeah.
And that shows that they still needed some defensive pressure. I'm going to go with the defensive rookie of the year, Jared Verse.
That's a solid pick. That's a huge pick right there. Love the Jared Verse pick. We fall back to number 12 here, and I think this just ironically ends up being perfect for the Denver Broncos. I was thinking about maybe if I had the right vice versa of picks, was thinking of maybe taking Bo Nix somewhere up there. But again, Bo Nix has to be taken off the board here. I think this was one of the greatest picks for the Broncos. It helped the franchise. I mean, he looked really, really good. Only other position you could have gone here was maybe wide receiver or that defensive back positions. But again, I think Bo Nix being here, you got to go take that guy.
Yeah, no, I still like that pick. He balled out for them this year, so it would still be the right pick in my mind. Now, Las Vegas. Are we
Brock
going
Bowers
off
isn't there?
Are we going off of the fact that Devontae is not there now? We're looking at it right now, right?
I mean, technically, yeah, we are looking at it right now. He was there, but I think there was also rumors at that point still that he was going to be traded.
Okay. So if I'm being honest, that just completely opens the door for Marvin Harrison Jr. So I think he's got to go here. By far the best wide receiver left. And I think the Raiders need weapons. And they got one in Brock Bowers, but as you mentioned, he's not here anymore. So I'm going to go with Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah, I mean, Marvin Harrison falling all the way to 13, you would think is the biggest steal of the year. But obviously, he was being drafted number 4, and he's one of the busts of the year. Saints are on the clock here. They drafted Fuaga. And I think this is, again, you needed to protect Derek Carr at all costs. And the cap situation is horrendous. As fast forward 1 year, it's still horrendous. So you still go draft yourself an offensive line, offensive tackle in Fashanu, who I think was the better offensive tackle overall in this draft.
Yeah, I like that too. He had immense hype coming into this year. I honestly don't know if he played well to it. I just remember hearing things about Fualaga, so I just went with him. Now, Indy's on the clock, and I don't even remember what they did here. Did they take D-line?
The Colts took they took an edge rusher in Leitu Latu.
Oh, that's right. And I'll be honest, I have not heard his name since.
He logged 32 tackles and 4 sacks.
Okay, I mean, not terrible, but I think there's definitely better options out there. And I think Indy needs some secondary help. And as I'm looking at this board right now, I would argue either it's so insane how it works out this way, but either of the Eagles DBs are
I knew you were going to start talking about it.
the best ones here. I'm going to go with the guy that made the crazy play in the Super Bowl.
I knew it.
And I'm going to go with Cooper DeJean, who as I just came to my mind, I actually had the Colts drafting at 15 last year.
Really?
So crazy works out this way. Yeah, I did.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a solid pick. DeJean, I mean, he played very, very good. And I think that just, it showed, and we saw it in the Super Bowl on his birthday too. Managed to pick 6 it, which was great to see. You get to the Seahawks. They took a defensive tackle, Byron Murphy. Byron Murphy, he was quiet as a rookie. Again, he kind of didn't really become too relevant, but the issue for Seattle was the offensive line, and they need offensive line help. I think this is the moment where they go and get offensive line help, and J.C. Latham.
Definitely the route I would have gone with. So that's a great pick. Jacksonville took Brian Thomas Jr., if I'm not mistaken, here. Yep. Do they go the same route? I don't think so. I think
Minnesota Vikings did actually trade up here. I do want to mention they did trade up.
Did they fall back to 19?
Dallas Turner.
Jacksonville?
Jacksonville does. No, I think they fell to 27, I believe.
Oh, really? That far? Okay.
23. Okay. 23. Sorry.
23. That's okay. 23. Yeah, you're right. Okay. So I think there are many more differences that they need here, the Jaguars. They ranked second worst, or they ranked worst in pass defense and second worst in pass pressures. So I think they're going to have to go with some secondary help, who I think is the best corner still left on the board, in Kenyon Mitchell.
Kenyon Mitchell. That's not a bad pick. I can't remember where Kenyon Mitchell went, but this is actually really good for it. He went to the Eagles, no?
He went to Philly, yeah.
Yeah. He didn't log an interception for his rookie season, but I mean, he was still thrown 75 times his way, and I think he still did really well. That's also the same number as Darius Slay, who was a Pro Bowler. So
Kenyon Mitchell was lockdown last year. I'm pretty sure he finished either second or third in Defensive Rookie of the Year odds. So he was good.
Yeah, exactly. Let's go into the Bengals. And the Bengals, they have a lot of options here. Do they go and get another wide receiver like they usually do in the first round? Last year, they ended up taking Amarius Mims as offensive tackle. Unfortunately, he is still on the clock here. Does he go back to the Bengals? Cincinnati needed a lot of defensive help. And I think, unfortunately, you just can't go with an offensive line. I mean, the defense was one of the worst. Take the offensive tackle like day 2. And I think you go and you draft Byron Murphy as your not Byron Murphy, Terrion Arnold as your defensive back.
I like it because they need the help, all the help they can get. Breaking news, not necessarily breaking, but just something that I just saw. The Bills have trade interest in Browns pass rusher Myles Garrett. I'm told the Bills will also put in a bid for Myles Garrett in the hopes they can pry the pass rusher away from the Cleveland Browns. So, any Bills fans
Ooh.
out there? Stay
I
alive.
mean,
Stay alive.
just don't face the Chiefs in the playoffs, and you'll be okay.
Right. Okay. So we got the Rams here, and this is, I believe, where they took Jared Verse.
Yes, Jared Verse went
Okay.
here.
And I mean, we just saw what happened to them against the Eagles in that Snow Bowl. Dotson looked awful that game, and their entire offensive line looked awful that game. So I think that's where they have to go. Although Jared Verse was so good for them, so drafting a D lineman would make sense here. But I think they're just going to have to go with the next best offensive tackle that's available. I don't quite
Let's go.
know who that is. Is it Fatanu? Well, offensive line.
Sorry.
Nope, you're fine.
Uh,
Marius Mims.
Mims,
Okay,
and then
let's
you also
go.
have Barton inside offensive line.
Let's go with Mims.
Okay. Mims is your guy coming off the board. We get the Steelers on the clock. Steelers here. They drafted Fatanu. Fatanu. He played only one game as a rookie before he dislocated his kneecap. But I do want to mention they drafted. There was a second rounder that came in and developed into a actually good starter. I think you have to go and reach into the second round and go take another offensive line. But take an offensive line that many people didn't really see coming, and that's Zach Frazier. He played very close to 1,000 snaps as a rookie. So I think this is good. Obviously, it gives me a C+ because he wasn't even supposed to, he was like, what, 50 something overall. He was supposed to be in the second, third round. So I think this is a good pick for him, for Pittsburgh. They need the offensive help, and that's what they get.
Didn't he end up on Pittsburgh anyways?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, right? Yeah, okay. All right, so now Miami's on the clock, and this is where I had them drafting Mims because I felt that their offensive line as a whole was where they should lock in on because obviously the hits to Tagovailoa is just ungodly. But I think that's what they're going to do here. And I think they're going to go with who I believe was the best interior offensive lineman in this draft in Jackson Paris-Johnson.
Okay, that's a good pick. Solid pick there. Philly is on the board, and both their picks, both their great players come off the board. Do they go and draft someone? Again, this was Kenyon Mitchell. Do they go and draft another corner? I mean, I don't know. This is tough because what do they want to do here? I think they're gonna go defense. I think they got to go defense. I think maybe you're gonna go and let's see where is he? I'm looking for Chomp Robinson. Which one is he? Where is Robinson? Did I pass him?
No, Penn State.
Let's see.
You might have passed him. Yep, there he is.
Oh, there he is. I think he was a solid player. I think you still got to help the defense and make the defense continue to stay good. Obviously, you lose out on Cooper DeJean, but Chomp Robinson is there, and you can go and pick him up.
And so if I'm not mistaken, the Vikings went with Dallas Turner here.
Yeah, this is where they traded up with the Jaguars.
And they ended up drafting Dallas Turner. Yeah, okay. All right. Yeah. So I think they're going to go pretty much the exact same route. Although I think Byron Murphy is the guy that they would go with here. Not a guy coming off the edge, but a great interior disruptor. And I think that's what they'll do.
Yeah, I like it. I think that's a solid pick. I think this is a steal for Minnesota. They need, again, keep getting that defensive help. And you get on hitting on two solid defensive players. Cowboys. Can we just skip the Cowboys, honestly? Can they just skip? Who we got? Running backs are horrendous. Not one of them deserve to be in the first, 3 rounds, really. Rome Odunze still falling down the boards. I think they still have to go with offensive line help. I think that was the biggest thing. Now, Detroit Lions traded up here. They got Terry Arnold. And the Cowboys, they ended up trading back. And they traded back all the way to 29, I believe? Yeah, 29. And they got Tyler Guyton. I think this is a pick that they still go offensive line. And they go and take Fatano, who's still on the board.
Okay. So if I'm being honest with you, I saw that you looked at a certain position that you said none of them deserve to be first rounders. I actually disagree with that. Maybe there's a guy that you might have forgotten in the running back category, but I'm not going to do that for any of my picks because
I do.
The last 3 teams that I have do not need a running back. So, but I just figured I'd throw that out there. Green Bay. I believe they selected a lineman here.
I completely forgot.
Yeah.
Green Bay picked actually Jordan Morgan, offensive tackle.
Oh, that's right, from Arizona. Yep, that's right. I don't think they're gonna do that again. I think Odunze's fallen far enough, and it's been a while since they've taken a first-round wide receiver. I still see the talent in Odunze, and I think that they should do that. Maybe solidify him as a for sure wide receiver 2, at least, so you have that, because right now in the Packers organization, they don't have a solidified anything in that wide receiver room. So I think that's where they'll go.
Yeah, I think this was the only option. If Rome Odunze falls this far, which he gave him B+, which is wild to me, but Rome Odunze needed to go here. If he didn't go here, I think I was going to draft him with Buffalo at 28. Leitu Latu actually falls right to the Buccaneers, which I actually am surprised he also fell this far. They need an edge rusher. They took Graham Barton, center out of Duke. I think that you got to solidify your defense and keep going with your defense, and Leitu Latu is the guy here.
That's exactly what I would have went with, so that's a great pick there. Now, if I'm not mistaken, the Cardinals went with Darius Robinson, was it, this pick?
The Cardinals here went with Darius Robinson, defensive line out of Missouri.
Okay. And I think they're going to do the same thing, but I don't know if that's the guy that I would go with. I honestly don't know much about... Oh, you know what? Give me Braden Fisk. I can't believe he actually fell as far, because he was a stud for the Rams this year. So I think that works perfectly for Arizona.
Yeah, I think that's a good pick again. Now, mind you, I just want to mention, we didn't draft a wide receiver for Arizona at all in the first round.
Yeah.
This is an interesting pick for Buffalo, because Buffalo here, they ended up trading back, and Kansas City took this pick and drafted Xavier Worthy. Buffalo would then have pick number 32, which then they would trade back again with the Panthers. This is a pick that they need to take a wide receiver and continue on trying to take a wide receiver. Now, is it Keon Coleman? The answer is no. It is Ladd McConkey.
Yeah, we messed up there. We definitely messed up there. I mean, I messed up.
I remember. No. I remembered Ladd McConkey. I just think Ladd McConkey deserved to be a first-round talent. I
can't agree with you more. I'm saying I messed up because he should have been a Packer over Rome Odunze.
Yeah. Okay. I could see that.
Now, with Detroit, man, what in the world do they need? Absolutely nothing on offense, in my humble opinion. They went with Terry and Arnold here, I believe. And I think...
They traded up for Terry and Arnold. But yeah,
some of the DBs that are still in this draft. The DBs. Nate Wiggins.
We got Nate Wiggins.
McKinstry.
We got
they got him
some
too.
linebackers.
Oh, You know who was great this year for the Packers? Yeah, a guy that was great for the Packers this year that I think would actually be great for this Lions defense because they maybe need some help in the middle. Is Edgar and Cooper, linebacker out of Texas A&M.
Okay. Let's see, right there, Texas
Yeah,
A&M.
he was
Yeah, I
great for
mean,
the Packers.
yeah, and again, they still defense. They dealt with injuries the whole time.
Hmm.
I think that's still you still add to that core of a defense, and again, I think they still end up having a good solid defense.
Yeah.
The Ravens here. Ravens drafted Nate Wiggins, and I really don't know if there is another position that they can draft other than Nate Wiggins here. I think Nate Wiggins played pretty decently well in his 6 starts as a rookie. I mean, he allowed just half the passes thrown in his direction, and his passer rating against was 66.7. So I think they hit on Nate Wiggins, and I think you got to keep on taking Nate Wiggins here.
Okay, I like it. Now, this is my last pick. Why am I thinking about doing it, man? I don't think I'm going to. Their wide receiver room is just, I mean, deteriorating by the second, I guess. Although, the guy that I was talking about being drafted in the first round as a running back was Bucky Irving, none other than.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, I think the Niners might think about it because, like, if they were in this realm today, I mean, who knows with CMC? So I would think they definitely think about it. But I think there are more positions of need, and I think they would attack that wide receiver room. And I think that they will draft a guy that could possibly be a stud going forward, Xavier Worthy.
Wow, what a snipe! Because I was thinking he was going to stay and go to Kansas City. Wow, that's an interesting one here. I think Kansas City really should take a wide receiver again here.
Mm-hmm.
Again, they could also go with Bucky Irving because of how bad that run game is. I think you need the help. Man, this is tough. I thought I had a clear-cut, solid pick here with Xavier Worthy.
Sorry, buddy.
No, it's okay. It's okay. You know what's throwing me off here? I think I'm going to take the guy that went just to the Bills, and I think I'm going to take Keon Coleman.
Okay.
I think Keon Coleman. He's a guy that again struggled a little bit, but I just don't know if he's in the right offense. And I think in Kansas City, I think he can thrive. That's my pick. That's my take.
I like it.
Let's save this. And here is our redraft. Caleb Williams falls all the way 3. I say all the way as if it's a big one. Some notable ones. Cardinals don't take a wide receiver. Malik Neighbors, the first receiver off the board. Titans take a tight end. J.J. McCarthy goes to the Jets at 10. Bo Nix stays in the Broncos. Some defensive help for the Bengals. Cooper DeJean gets drafted a little higher to the Colts. Rome Odunze is that wide receiver 1 for Green Bay, finally. Ladd McConkey sets the tone for the Bills wide receiver room. And, 2 wide receivers go back-to-back to close out the first round once again.
That was fun. I think it went pretty well, actually. So,
yeah, I think it went pretty good, too. It was a solid draft.
It was a good time.
Well, of course, that is going to do it for this week's show. I think we did pretty well in the draft. I think how do we rank the redraft? You think these teams would have different outlooks in this past season?
Well, obviously, we saw a lot of different guys finding different homes in our redraft. So those teams didn't do that good of a job drafting the way they did last year. Maybe these guys, in another world, flourish on their new teams.
Of course, and as always, if you haven't done so already, go use that code SportsTimeHQ on Underdog Fantasy. They're going to match your first deposit up to $1,000. Again, code SportsTimeHQ, matching your first deposit up to $1,000. And if you haven't done so already, go to TrophySmack.com/SportsTimeHQ. Go get yourself a trophy, ring, or belt. Opening day is 25 days away for the MLB. It's going to be exciting. We're all excited for the MLB season. I know I am. Gary, I know you are, to see the Guardians lose once again and the Red Sox go to the playoffs.
Right.
Maybe World Series, who knows? But we already love to see it. Again, TrophySmack.com/SportsTimeHQ. Again, we're here every single week, Wednesdays and Sundays. Wednesdays, we're here at 6 p.m. Eastern. Sundays, we're here at 12 p.m. Eastern every single week. And we'll see you guys all on Wednesday. I joined by my great co-host, Gary. Go follow him all over social media at GD Picks. I'm your host, Fernando. And again, follow us all over social media at SportsTimeHQ.